How's everybody doing? LA Kendrick with another tale from the ball. Would you dare? Everything supernatural, extraterrestrial, ultra dimensional. That's what we do here. One shot, one take. We're not professionals at this. We're just doing this for fun and give you some place to go when you got nowhere to go, as far as sharing your imagination and your thoughts. All right, you guys know how we do. So what I want to talk about today is the cop, excuse me, that ran the aliens back off the planet, scared them to death, obviously. And his name is, we'll get into that in a minute. Make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel and what I'm doing. We're gonna have that new cartoon out probably next week. And it's based on this comic book here is what you guys requested. So you guys, here we are, we're taking care of that. This is the first issue. And again, we cover all bases and we cover everything supernatural, extraterrestrial, ultra-dimensional, serial killers, demonic, witches, the whole nine, ghosts, the whole nine, right? That's what we do here. And trying to figure out where to go as far as, we go somewhere every year, and what we do is we bring you the stories from the creepy places on the planet. Sometimes I listen to what you guys suggest, and then we just go, or sometimes I just decide on my own where to go. And with that being said, I'm going to give you a two-part treat here today. So, the party don't start till you walk in. Now that you're here, let's begin. Don't want to make this too long. So, from time to time, what I'll do is I'll stop. I may stop and I may just let it run on through. But in the meantime, between times, okay, you guys, let's go ahead and get to the story. This story actually ruined this cat's life, man, and I feel for him. Ruined his life all the way until his death. And he never wavered on what he said, he saw, and he witnessed. All right.
Traveling through on their way to someplace else. Visitors rarely slow down long enough to learn that this place has a mysterious past, and that one retired Socorro police officer is still haunted by the unearthly encounter that took place here 32 years ago. Lonnie Zamora remembers April 24th, 1964. He was a rookie on the force, returning to the station after an uneventful day. Then, a speeding vehicle passed Zamora's patrol car, and he set off in pursuit.
When we got to this hill, I saw a lot of dust, and I let the speeder go, and I turned to investigate. I could see a white object sitting between those two bushes over there, and I had to come real slow because this was a messed up road, had big rocks on it and everything. I thought it was the kids from high school there. They were racing up here, and maybe one of the teenagers had turned over.
When the speeding object came to a stop, Zamora claims that he saw two figures in white coveralls emerge from a strange white UFO. He moved in slowly.
I came up here to this road till I could find a flat spot where I could park my car. I got out of the car and glanced down to the arroyo there, and I saw this white-looking object. It was sort of a big ape shed, bigger than a car. Those are the exact bushes that were there, and the crab was sitting right in between them two. So I started down to see what it was, and then I heard this big boom in the bottom, and the fire came off the bottom. So I started running behind my police car to take cover. I could feel the heat after it because it was windy like now, and then it gradually pulled up about 20-30 feet and stayed there for a while and then just took off.
His radio was dead. Zamora could only watch in awe as the object disappeared over the horizon. As soon as it was gone, the police radio crackled to life, and Zamora called for backup. A New Mexico State Police unit quickly arrived.
We came down here, and we saw this big rock right down here. It was still on fire. And then we saw the...
Pause for a second. What's crazy is that he punked those guys. He punked those aliens. They got right back on the ship, and they took off, hovered a little bit, and then they kept it pushing.
The imprints of the legs of the craft, and there was 4 of them. And then we saw this footprints around here.
By nightfall, the FBI had arrived on scene and began gathering evidence.
They went down there and measured the footprints and everything. And we stayed out here until about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Still wondering what it was. But they didn't say what it was or not. But 9 o'clock, they said we went down to the courthouse and we talked about it until about midnight.
Instantly, Socorro was the center of an unprecedented media frenzy.
This is one of the few sightings that got national attention immediately. Lonnie Zamora's story is on the national news. It's in all the newspapers. Everybody's talking about it.
Fair use, YouTube, fair use.
Kevin Randall is an internationally renowned UFO investigator. He feels the Socorro events stand alone because of the amount of physical evidence collected at the scene.
Landing gear marks were found. The bush was burned by the UFO engine. There were occupants, creatures from the craft sighted by Lonnie Zamora.
And the event brought the greatest UFO researcher of the day to Socorro.
J. Allen Hynek, the Air Force consultant, came to Socorro. He looked at it, talked to Zamora, talked to Zamora's superiors, talked to people who saw the landing traces, took photographs. So there's physical evidence remaining behind. It's one of the few times they said there could be a flying saucer.
I had conversations with Dr. Hynek about the Socorro case, and his comments to me led me to believe that he felt that this was one of those cases where the government was unwilling to permit him to say what he would like to say about it. And that dismayed him a great deal.
According to Timmerman, a longtime associate of J. Allen Hynek, the Socorro event was one of the defining moments in Hynek's career.
Ah, see?
He felt that this was one of the most important cases he'd come across. And I think that maybe his attitude toward it was developed as a result of his feel about the Lonnie Zamora, the primary witness.
Lonnie Zamora is very credible. He's a police officer. He has nothing to gain by telling this story. He is stuck with this story from the very beginning. This is what he saw. There's no question that Lonnie Zamora
I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit
for an explanation for the Socorro UFO landing. They offered logs from the White Sands missile base, charting government testing of the newly developed lunar landing module. But the logs indicate the tests ended more than 5 hours before Zamora's sighting.
The Air Force explanation simply doesn't work because they have no documentation to place the lunar lander in that portion of New Mexico at that time. It does not match Zamora's description.
I think if Dr. Hynek were here today and saw this new documentation available, the report that the Air Force says it was a lunar lander, if anything, that landed near Socorro, I think he'd say bourgeois. He'd say that this is the government trying to do its fancy little dance and saying things that will satisfy the media, that will satisfy the country and the world, that there's no reality to the UFO phenomenon.
Let me jump forward a little bit here. And Zamora, I forgot, of course he's no longer with us. He has transitioned to the next life. Let's see. That's his sketch of what he had witnessed.
The studios of KSRC to catch a glimpse of Mr. Zamora as he arrived and welcome him with their car horn. Mr. Zamora, after coming upon this object, just what did happen?
I went up that little road for about half a mile, I guess. Came up to this little parking deal there on the side of the road, and I sort of glanced out the window, looked to my left, and seen this white object on the ground. So I thought it might be a car that had turned over. So I was the real big Harry going out there to investigate, thought maybe somebody would be hurt. That time I saw this white ache.
So let me stop it there because Lonnie's already explained this part in the original, in the beginning of this particular video. So, I mean, this thing changed this guy's entire life. So, let me backtrack a little bit here. This is one of the things that always strike me as odd when it comes to UFO events and things. What always strikes me as odd is how they are so willing. They're so willing to always dismiss something happening when we'll get stories from people, credible eyewitnesses, that say that this thing or that did happen. Now, Lonnie in New Mexico, right? The aliens seem to be afraid of him. But here's another story that I came across. And these aliens didn't seem too afraid of the humans. In fact, they put their pimp hand down.
Straight out of science fiction, a CIA file about aliens attacking Soviet forces has gone viral, raising eyebrows and dropping jaws. Chief Transportation Correspondent and pilot May K. Buehler has the declassified report. Got everyone talking. Whoa, you've got your hands on the file, May K.
Yeah, I got my hands on the file, and I can't believe we're talking about this. Times are changing.
Yeah.
Times are changing. All right, it may sound fanciful and difficult to believe. You may think it's hogwash, while others believe it's possible. So the CIA just posted on its website a single-page summary, there it is, of a hostile encounter between the Russian army and a flying saucer that is said to have occurred sometime between 1989 and 1990. So that's when, according to portions of an extensive 250-page KGB file featuring witness testimony and photographs, detail how 25 Soviet troops were practicing training drills when a, quote, low-flying spaceship in the shape of a saucer, unquote, flew above their base in Siberia. Now, the report states that for unknown reasons, the sighting prompted the men to launch a surface-to-air missile, bringing the craft down.
Wow, this is crazy. So what, in this report, what does it allege the soldiers, what do they do with the aircraft?
I don't think it's what they did with the aircraft.
It's
what
it's
the
pretty
aircraft
intense.
or its occupants did with them. So yeah, this is what happened. According to the file, quote, 5 short humanoids with large heads, large black eyes emerged from the wreckage before fusing together into a single object, a spherical shape that emitted a buzzing sound. The report goes on to say the sphere burst into an explosion of white light, leaving 23 of the men, quote, turned into stone poles, unquote, while the remaining 2 that apparently were shielded from the blast by being in the shade escaped unharmed. Now, the bodies of the victims and what was left of the UFO were recovered by the Red Army and taken to a research lab outside Moscow, where it was found that the molecular structure of the men was that of limestone.
What?
So the light that petrified them was a source of energy that officials say is not currently known to humanity.
There you go, boom. That's additional, that's amazing, that's impressive.
Whoa. We literally said jaw-dropping at the top of the story. I'm sitting there going, what?
This is a CIA report. We're not making it. This isn't a tabloid, okay?
Okay, so this file that's now declassified by the CIA. I mean, analysts that are looking at this, I mean, it does seem far-fetched, like this is some kind of sci-fi movie. Well, I mean, what do they say about these details?
Right, so in the report, and according to the Independent that reported on the report, an unnamed CIA analyst is quoted as saying, quote, if the KGB file corresponds to reality, well, this is an extremely menacing case. The aliens possess weapons and technology that go beyond all of our assumptions. They can stand up for themselves if attacked. And an ex-CIA agent says if there was an incident, he suspects the actual report doesn't look much like what has come out decades later. You know, perhaps it's been embellished over time. Now, somebody tried to attack you with a surface-to-air missile. Would you retaliate?
I mean, how could you not?
Heck yes!
I mean, yeah, you would. This is crazy.
No, it's crazy.
So I'm going to stop it and pause it right there because I'm out of time, you guys, okay? But you guys see that truth, you see that actuality, you see that factuality, all right? And would you dare want to be cut out there like Lonnie? Because again, this thing changed Lonnie's entire life, changed everything about him, and now he's no longer with us, and he took it to his grave on what he's seen. But then the end of this, the CIA report, what do you guys think about that? Turning them cats into stone after launching a surface-to-air missile. Hey, CIA report. Okay, so that's been L.A. Kendrick with the tale from the vault of Would You Dare? And make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna get up out of here. Thank you guys for joining. New cartoon will be out here probably next week. And in the meantime, in between times, you guys check under your cars, check around your cars, check inside of your cars. Make sure you have some awareness of what's going on around your vehicle. Because if you're working the wee hours of the night, or into the late hours of the wee hours of the night and late hours in the morning, make sure you're mindful of your surroundings because you never know what's lurking in the dark, waiting to make you a story. And this has been L.A. Kendrick. And until next time, You guys be safe and fill in the rest.